new great free software. No.
Okay, go.
This is the 2020 version, and it's going to be available on our website as soon as JJ puts it up. I sent him a copy of it. It's a PDF copy.
When are they gonna give it?
So you can download it. You know, the nice thing about the PDF copy is you can there's links throughout the PDF where you can just, because there's websites associated with this stuff, with free software. So you can click on the links and it'll take you to the website where you can get the free software that's discussed. Now, so a lot of free software is open source, not all of it. One example is the Acrobat Reader. It's proprietary. But a lot of stuff that I'm going to be talking about is open source. That means lots of people can work on it. And you can, open source means you can get a copy of the source code if you're, glutton for punishment, or I mean, if you are interested in how it works and stuff like that. And maybe you like the way the software works, but you'd like to change something. Well, you can do that. You can change the software if you're, reasonably good at writing code, editing code. And you can share one of the requirements of there's some very popular license that you got to sign up for when you do this. And anything you create software, anything you modify, you got to share with others. It's a really slick concept. Now, a lot of the programs that I'm going to talk about are what they call cross-platform. That means the same software, well, not exactly the same, not the same code, but the same program is available for many different computers, for many different operating systems, like Windows. Most of the stuff's going to be Windows and Linux, but some also works on Apple and even Android. And there's other operating systems too that it works on. There are free software, free operating systems that you can get. Now, when I Linux is just plain free. Windows 10, you can get, from the last I heard, you can still get free upgrades to updates to Windows 10. And I've done that on a number of computers. Great number, well, not 10 maybe, I don't know. And it's still free if you have Windows 7 and later. If you have anything before Windows 7, then it's not, then you gotta buy the software. Yes?
Do you know if that includes the Windows Office?
I used to buy a license for the Office suite, but you don't do that anymore. It's different. I don't know too much about it because I'm not, I don't deal much with. But I did a little bit of research for the Office suite, the Microsoft Office suite, and I know something about it. I'm certainly not an expert. Okay, VirtualBox. Let's say you want to run more than one operating system and you have a fairly capable computer. There's a VirtualBox is one of several virtual machines, they call it, that you can run on an operating system, and then on the virtual machine you can run another operating system. So you can actually run two operating systems on your computer at the same time, or maybe even more. So VirtualBox is free. It's made by by Oracle. Everybody's heard of that. And you can download it from their website and install it on your machine, whether it be Windows or Linux or Macintosh, the OS X. They have versions for those three operating systems. You install it on on your computer, and then you can run a whole bunch of different operating systems on it. Windows 3.1 and later you can run. That's old. Oh, you can run DOS. That's even, you can run gobs of stuff on here. Mac OS, IBM OS 2, probably Solaris, Linux, lots of different operating systems you can run. If you just want, let's say you don't want to bother with installing and operating on the machine because you're just curious, you don't really want to use it every day. You can load it in VirtualBox, and you can try a whole bunch of different operating systems if you like. And when you're done, you just blow it away and load a new one. So it's a pretty neat product. Any questions on anything so far? Okay, web browsers. Most people run Windows here. It now comes with a browser called Edge. I haven't found anything I really like about it, except with that browser I can download Chrome and Firefox. That's the greatest, that's the most favorable attribute in my mind of Microsoft Edge. Opera is also very popular. I don't know how popular it is, but a lot of people use it. And it runs under, there's a list of operating systems that these will run under. As you can see, when you make a browser, you make it to run under as many operating systems as you can. So that's what they do. Mike?
Edge supposedly has the Google operating system behind it.
Right, right.
So,
yeah, and I don't know how they, I tried to work with it and it doesn't work quite the same. I mean, that might change over time, but,
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah. Yeah, once you
get used to it.
Yeah, right. If I used it every day, I'd probably get used to it, and I'd probably say, I don't want to, well, I wouldn't say everything's good, but I'd probably gain more.
Before they switched, though, it was quirky.
Yeah. But it'll get better. I'm sure it'll get better.
If you take a course at college, they use Firefox, so then you'll get used to using it in that environment.
Oh, yeah.
And as they upgrade them, Firefox has some things that are faster than others.
Yeah.
Chrome, Firefox, and Opera are the main ones, and they know IE from Microsoft is kind of dropped off.
Yeah.
Because all those languages interpret JavaScript. JavaScript isn't compiled, so that they have to have the latest, and they all work together as a IA, most of them, you get tired of having to write code to work different ways depending upon the operating system. And so some people just say, well, it's not going to run on IA Microsoft.
Yeah. Yeah, JavaScript is a language, a nice language for hitting multiple operating systems.
I use one called Vivaldi that's based on Chrome, but has what I need, which is a menu across the top. The others did not. The time I started using it, I just like it. I can move it into tossing around.
Okay.
I think it works better than Chrome.
Well, Chrome has a menu if you tell it to have a menu.
Right. No, there's no way to put it across the top that I found.
Oh, you mean the very top?
Yeah, at the top, like
Oh.
they used to have
Oh, okay.
file, edit, whatever,
Oh,
across the
yeah.
top. Vivaldi
Oh, okay.
has that, but it's based on Chrome, so almost anything you work on Chrome or anything will
Oh,
work on Chrome.
so you're talking about the drop-down menu?
Yes, the
Yeah,
drop-downs.
yeah. They have these three little dots over on
I
this side. Yeah, it does the same thing, but it's different. Maybe hard to get used to. Yeah. Dave.
Yeah, I'd like to add Brave to the list. Brave browser works better with advertising than all of those.
Is that like a built-in filter or something, or?
Well, they coordinate things with Google and some of the other companies that do a lot of advertising, so that the advertising is kept under control. It doesn't overwhelm you like it does in most browsers.
Ah, okay. Let's see. So there's lots of choice for it, bottom line. Okay, now, one of my programs that I install on all my machines is the Thunderbird email client. I don't know, how many people have more than one email service that they work with? Okay, that's almost half. I have, over the years, I've tried this email service and that one and the next one and the next one. And so after a while, you have all these email services. Well, you kind of hate to go check all your, I do anyway, I hate to go to all these different sites to check my email, and then they're all handled differently. And so what I found as a slick thing is to have a local email client that manages all that stuff for you. You just say, download all my email. It goes out to all your email providers, it downloads it, and you're done. Except for over time, I found out that they all have spam filters. And the problem with the spam filter is Thunderbird won't download that. They won't download the spam. And so that sounds good, but sometimes you look in your spam folder, oh, I was supposed to get that. I was waiting for it. Why is it on my... So what you have to do, it forces you to go to their website where they advertise things to you and go look at the spam folder. And I find it to be an irritation. There was, like, with AOL, there was an option to say, well, disable the spam folder. It didn't work. I still got spam in my spam folder, which means it didn't go in my inbox, which means I couldn't download it. So I'm stuck with this thing where I got to go to the website to get the email. Well, they got to make money too, so they make it through advertising, so I guess I'm okay with it. Besides that, most of the stuff in the spam folder is spam, and so it makes it real easy to go through and just delete it all. Just pick out the things that aren't spam, which aren't that many, and then once you've done that, you can just delete all the spam. So with an email client, it puts on you the, you know, I use, one of the reasons I use an email client, Thunderbird in particular, well, it's free, that's the main reason I use Thunderbird. Well, I started out using Outlook. There's a program by Microsoft called Outlook, and that was a local email client. And my company, when I worked for them, was kind enough to buy it for everybody, so everybody used it. So I kind of got used to it. But then when I left the company, well, even before that, I said, I want an email client at home, but I don't want to, at the time it was only $50. But $50 is a lot more when I was using it. So I said, no, I'm not going to do that. So I found Thunderbird, and it's works on any, works on Windows and Linux and probably the Mac, Apple products too. Yes, Fred?
Outlook is free now.
Really?
Yes.
Is it? Now, a lot of the...
I haven't explored what that means.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm going to cover that kind of thing a little bit later. They've gone to a different model where you do this, it's free if you do it online. And my email client I want on my local computer.
I think I paid for the Office suite, so I'm probably not getting the free Outlook.
Oh.
I'm probably not using it, but I know it exists.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's a client.
Well, Outlook, a long time ago, Outlook was a standalone email client. And you used to be able to buy it, or you could get it with the Microsoft Office suite. But stuff's changed, but I'll go into that a little bit later. Mike?
There's a cut-down version of Microsoft Outlook in Windows. That's what he's talking about.
Oh, is that Outlook Express? I mean, it used to be Outlook Express.
Well, it used to be called Outlook Express. I think they're just calling it Outlook now.
Oh, okay.
And it basically does everything else that the paid version does,
Yeah,
but
okay.
it just looks different. I was gonna say cheap, but,
Inexpensive.
yeah.
You know, that would be good if, but see,
I don't know if it does multiple clients, though.
Or multiple operating systems, or multiple,
Multiple email clients.
yeah.
I don't know if it does.
Emails providers,
Right.
yeah, okay. But it should. I mean, Outlook Express used to do that. You could have if I remember right, you could have multiple email providers.
I have regular Outlook, and until that goes away, then
Pardon?
I have a copy of the regular Outlook, so that's what I use, but when that goes away, I'll probably switch.
Well, one thing I like about Thunderbird is it doesn't matter what the operating system is. You know, they have a version for that. Okay, but it bears with it some responsibility. Like if you just use a web browser for your email and you manage all they store that stuff for you. But when you have your own email client and you download the email, that now becomes your responsibility. So you have to back up your stuff if you want to, because hard drives crash. And so if you don't back up your stuff, including your emails, you'll lose it if when your hard drive crashes. So that's backing up your stuff is an important subject, and I hope to see someone, maybe me, do a presentation on backing up software, because it's really important. And you don't realize how important it is until either you make a mistake and delete something you should, which I've done, or your hard drive just crashes. So that's anyway, you have that responsibility. Thunderbird has a different setup for each. You can change those parameters for every email provider. So that's kind of a nice thing. All of your emails in one place. You don't have to go looking all over the web for it. If someone sends you an email and you download all your emails, or unless it's in a spam folder somewhere, you'll get it to your computer. All of the when you look at an email, it's the same regardless of which provider it came from. All the buttons and switches are the same with a local email client. And there's lots of free email providers, and one thing I recommend is, like almost all of us in here have either Comcast or AT&T as an internet service provider. They give you an email service, but if you happen to change, let's say you go from Comcast to AT&T, or there's no guarantee that they're going to maintain your email for you. It happens that they do so far. I mean, I go back to, I haven't had Comcast for a long time, but I can still send email to that, and it comes back, and so it works. Send and receive email through Comcast, even though I don't have them as a provider. So it doesn't, huh? Well, no. Well, yeah, that's right. Well, I don't have to do anything though. It just, every time I try, it could be a year later, I try, hey, it still works. Go figure. Maybe it's so I'll come back someday. I don't know why they keep it open, but they do. And yes.
Slightly. The club likes to have our emails. What would you use for the club? Just a separate thing? Or which one do you use? When you show them, you already get emails from club members. Did you show them everything else?
Well, I have an email address, and the one I use most is leslarkin@aim.com. And so they'd send me email to that address, and I would tell my Thunderbird email client, go get all my emails, and it would go off to the AOL server and download the email, and there it would be. Just real. I did a presentation on email, how it works and stuff like that some time ago. And there's probably a copy of it on the website if you'd like to look at it, on the LCAC website. Yes. Another really great program, especially if you're kind of used to Microsoft Office, it's not a real hard transition to go to LibreOffice, which is free. And it has a lot of neat things. As you can see, it's got a word processor for writing letters and such. Spreadsheet program, presentation, which is, there it is, that's what I'm using now. I mean, that's the tool that I'm using, and it works very similarly. I can toggle between the full screen and the editing mode with just the F5 key, which is the same for Microsoft version. Yes. Graphics, you can do graphic stuff. Database and formula editor. Now, those last three, I think I dabbled, tried to do something with the database, but I lost interest. But I used, the main things I use are spreadsheet and the presentation manager. Those are the main things that I use with LibreOffice, and they work very well. Fred?
Do you use the database?
No, I tried to do it.
Microsoft version of the database, All Access, is not marketed anymore.
Oh,
So I suspect that it's not going to be supported on some other product.
okay.
Anybody in here use Microsoft Access?
Not lately.
Yeah.
As far as I know, it's withdrawn from marketing now, and essentially going away and not marketed with Office anymore.
So, do they don't have, they probably don't have an online version?
SQL Server is what they're pushing, I think.
Okay. Well, good to know.
Most home users don't use databases.
Yeah, I use a spreadsheet because you know, you can do almost everything you want with a small home database. You can use a spreadsheet and it works fine. So that's what I like, especially for like email lists or an address, like an address book is a good application for that. That's what I use. Or passwords, I use passwords too. Well, I still use it for passwords, but I save it in as an encrypted file, because you don't want your passwords just, in a regular spreadsheet.
Version? Will it work with like Android or a smartphone?
I think there's a version of LibreOffice for Android. Okay, now, I mentioned that Microsoft is doing things a little bit differently now. I went to look for, this slide used to have Microsoft Office viewers, like they had one for Word and one for Excel and one for PowerPoint. But I went back to look for those to make, to update this thing. This morning I looked and they weren't there. They said, sorry, we've discontinued this product. They used to give them away for free, and so you could read these files. If someone sent you a file, you could read it. You couldn't edit, but you could read it. Well, now they've taken a different tack, and you can get the full version of these things online, and they're free. They have a version of 365, is it, Fred? I think they sell that, and it's a subscription.
It's a yearly subscription.
Yeah, okay. So if you want to pay Microsoft, you can. And they probably have more fancy stuff than the free version. And the nice thing about these online things is, at least they talked about it when I was doing the research, is you can share these documents in their cloud OneDrive. So it's kind of neat, especially if you do things with other people. It sounds like a pretty good thing. And you have to have a Microsoft account, of course. Hope there aren't any questions, Guy. For this, I have no answers because I told you everything I know about it because that's why I know about it. I found out this morning and I didn't spend a lot of time. So like that. Okay, now I just installed a copy of VLC Media Player right back there on Fritz's machine. and it works. It's a great, on most computers, you know, you have a disk. Well, I don't believe, so far, I haven't found one that comes with a media player that'll play a DVD. So what you do is you go to the Videoland website. Well, there's a link on here. Yeah, okay, it brings up a website, and it goes to the Videoland website, and you can download a copy of this thing and install it on your machine, and you can play DVDs with it on your computer. These are all the formats it plays. I'll give you a couple seconds to memorize all of them. Or you can go to our website and download this, and you'll be able to see all the gazillions of
There's an output to where you plug in instruments and operate other instruments. I can't think of the media. There's some format where you can send
MIDI?
instruction, pardon?
MIDI, is that what you're talking about?
MIDI?
M-I-D-I?
Could be.
yeah. This is just a
Okay.
player. I think it does some. I don't know what kind of editing, if any, it does, but it plays all kinds of video and audio files. That's its purpose. So, and it's a very flexible, very good tool. Okay, Belarc Advisor. I've worked on a number of machines for different people and myself. And, well, this only works with Windows. But what it does is it goes in and looks at your computer and makes a record of everything on the machine. And the really important thing to me is that it lists all of your product keys for your software on your machine. And so you want to save that, because, you know, if your hard drive crashes and by the way, this file that you create, you want to back up on another machine, because if your hard drive crashes, you'll lose that too. So you want to have a copy of this data for your machine. Whenever I work on a machine, the first thing I do when I get it, if I can, if it's running well enough, I can run Belarc Advisor. I run it and make a copy of everything that's on the machine. Because if I delete a piece of software, which sometimes I do, like if I reinstall the operating system, I want a copy of all those license numbers, those product keys, because otherwise you gotta buy them again, and that kind of sucks. But it also tells you hardware, how much memory, what kind of processor you have, how fast it's running. It just tells you, you know, it's a list like that of all the different, what's going on inside the computer. So I do one before I do any serious work and after. I record that information too.
Printed?
I try to run a paperless
Right.
environment, but it comes out as a web page.
Right, but if I remember, it also changes. It changes if you bring that up, it will say it.
Oh, yeah, this installs as a piece of software, so the
Right.
first time you run it, it'll say, you have Belarc Advisor installed on your machine. This is how much you know. Yeah, you can save, yeah, you can save it anywhere you want, but it saves as a web page. Well, there's a couple ways to save it. One, I always like a full web page, because I like all the, when I look at it, I want to see it in all its beautiful glory. They do a nice job, but you can do it another way where it looks kind of almost like a text file. And you know, the formatting isn't the same, and so I always try. Now, when they save it as a web page, there's a file, and then there's a folder with the same name, except right at the end it says underbar files. And so that folder has all the files. It's got a big list of files in it. So it's not just one file, it's a file that points at this directory and all the information's in that directory. So you gotta save both the file, it's an HTML file, plus the directory that goes with it. You gotta save both of them. And then you can look at it on any browser. So, I use this to see what I got on the machine. And it only runs on Windows. It doesn't, but most people, whose machines I work on, they run Windows, so it's really used to just.
Can you put that on a thumb drive for saving?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just regular
Okay.
files, so, yeah, so it'll go on a thumb drive, which is a good idea. Okay, Scribus, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, Scribus. It's a desktop publisher. So if you want to write a magazine or something like that, that's what this is for. And it runs under a bunch of, probably you've all heard of Microsoft Publisher. It's the same kind of a thing. Any publishers in here that like to do that kind of stuff? Well, not everybody likes to do this. Not for everyone.
Our monthly newsletter.
Yeah, monthly newsletter. You use Publisher.
Mike and I use Publisher.
Yeah.
I have, but when I bought my new computer, we had to buy Publisher separately
Well,
and pay a monthly subscription, so it's out.
Well,
Yeah.
Publisher is part of 365.
Well, yeah, but I didn't do that either.
Okay.
So, well, if you want to do publishing, you might try that. It doesn't
I might.
cost anything to try, that's for
Exactly.
sure. So,
Did you, do you know how many publishers accept that format for stories?
Say what now?
Yeah.
I use, it's called Greeting Card Factory and stuff like that, because I make all my own greeting cards.
Oh, I see.
So I switched over to that and I use that.
When you publish online, you have to have a format that accepts.
Publisher only accepts his own format.
Right,
Yeah.
and I have lots of stuff in Publisher.
Yeah,
I can't read it.
I'm not familiar what kind of format they use. They might use the Microsoft.
Yeah, the only thing you can do is you can export it out as a basic PDF file, which I do. Mike or I, when we create the newsletter, and then from Publisher, I'll create a PDF file, and that's what I put on the website. And if you go on the website, you notice that I put a PDF file and I put a flip page file up there, so I'm converting it from Publisher to either one of those two.
And you can actually, in Publisher, save it as a PDF file.
Yes, in Publisher, you can save it as a PDF file.
Okay.
I sent it to him as a publisher so we could check it.
Mary wrote some short stories that never got published yet.
I kind of wish I knew, I've never used it myself, but, for anything that people can use and do use, like JJ and Mike and Linda, that's enough people to me that someone might like to know about this thing. And it's a tool, it's free, you can download it, just Eric?
Well, earlier when you were talking about, Acrobat Reader, you didn't mention, an alternative to that, which, you turned me on to, called Nitro.
Yeah. I don't think I got to that. I think it's on here. I know it's on here. I'm going to get to that. Okay. Might be the next one, but it's not. Okay. KeePass. There's a bunch of different password managers, and these two are managers that I use on. They work very similar, and they exchange the databases are the same format. One is primarily for Windows, and one's primarily for Linux. I think they walk on each other's turf, if you ask me.
Etsy is also available on Windows.
Huh?
You can get both of them on Windows now.
Well, I think you're right. I like to have, especially for like bank accounts and stuff like that, I like to have pretty secure passwords, so I use a password manager. And when you use a whole bunch of different passwords, you just can't remember them. So you gotta have a secure place to store them. And so when you use a password manager, you have to put in, that's the password you have to remember. You have to remember, you must not forget the password for your password manager, but that's the only password you have to remember. Now, even though I store, and I know these are safe, I believe them to be safe, I have no reason to think they're not, I go one step farther. I save most of the password in the password manager, but some of the password I don't. I remember that. Now that can be the same for every website I go to because it's only a little tiny piece that I tack onto the end or the beginning, would you like to know which end I tack it onto. So it's an extra, because nobody can get into here. They can get into my computer and, knock yourself out, but they can't get into here. So I remember part of every password that I really want to be secure. These are free. I don't know if they have an Apple version. Does anybody know if they have an Apple version of this? I know they have Windows and Linux. Okay. Well, there's so many different password managers. You can find one you like anyway. These are two that I picked, and I'm pretty happy with them. Okay, this is the Eric Diskey. Now I used to have Nitro here. They did something that made me so I didn't like it so much. And then Acrobat said, we're going to make it so you can paste a signature on a file. And that's important to me because I deal with a lot of, not a lot, but like a couple of years, last few years, I had to fill out a form to send into my securities brokerage house. It was Scottrade. And they made you fill out this form and paste a signature on the bar. They wanted it signed. So I found out that the only way to do that is I created a signature that I saved as a file, and I can paste it. I can do that in the Acrobat Reader, or for Linux, this thing called Journal. They each allow you to actually do some editing on the file. You can do that on either one of these, and you can paste the signature on the file. And I can send that into my security broker as a fax, and they didn't know I didn't actually sign a piece of paper, and they don't need to know. As long as they have when it comes out their fax machine, as far as they see a piece of paper with a signature on it, and they're happy. Well, these two did the two things I was looking for. I needed to do some editing, like when I'd send them these forms, they want the date on there, so I had to be able to type the date in, even though, basically it was a form. There were fields that you could fill out, just type in the data and stuff. At the bottom where they wanted the signature, neither one of those were like regular fields dedicated in the document. They're just a blank piece of paper. So if you want to put the date on, you have to type it. Well, Acrobat Reader lets me do that, so does Journal. And so those two things, I have to be able to put both text and an image, basically. Signature is an image. I have to be able to put text and an image in my documents when I fax them somewhere, and it could be like maybe a bank loan or maybe something to do with buying a car. If you have to send a legal document, you want to be able to do that. You want to be able to put a date, and you want to be able to paste a signature, so they think that they accept that as a legal document. Any questions about these two? Okay. Okay. GNU Image Manipulation Program. You've probably all heard of Photoshop. It's a very popular graphics tool. And GIMP is popular too. It's very powerful, and it's the tool that I use to make my signatures. I take a piece of paper and I put my signature on a paper, and I scan it, and I go into GIMP, and I make some documents, you know, they want different sizes of signature, so I made a couple, you can make a couple different signature sizes. And initials, I have a set of initials too. And one thing that you can do is when you scan a signature, it's usually on white paper. Well, you don't want that white background, because if you're pasting on a document and it's a signature, it's going to be a rectangle. And if you paste it, like you might paste it right over the signature line, and that looks kind of tacky. So you want this everything except the signature itself to be transparent, so it looks like you actually took a pen and signed it. So GIMP has a way to get rid of the white background that's on the paper, or you can use maybe light blue.
Basically, what you're doing is you're converting the file to a PNG file, which makes the background invisible.
Right. PNG is one of the few there might be one other format, but PNG is a format that allows you to do that. They call it the alpha channel or something
Yes.
like that. And if you have an alpha channel, you can get rid of the background so it's transparent. So now this is I've used it a lot, and it's got incredibly powerful. Every time I want to do something, though, I mean, this is a downside. When you have a really powerful program, it's not always obvious how to do things. So every time I try to do a new thing, I gotta it's a research project. But you know, if you want a very powerful program, there it is, and it's free.
So our user is quite conscious.
Yes, it is.
I did a review of the book, and it was like we got it here. The book was this big with
Yeah.
thin pages, and like, oh my God, you could spend years just learning all the things this is.
Yeah. Yeah, it is incredibly powerful. Okay?
Some of the simple things like cropping and resizing are pretty easy to do in that program though.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, and I do a lot of cropping of pictures, and it is easy to do. There's this little box you click on and you know adjust the lines, and then you right click and you say crop on selection, and it's done. And scaling, a lot of stuff is real easy to do. But some things aren't so easy to do. But they're doable is the important thing. You can actually do stuff with this thing, a lot of stuff. There's a type of optical character recognition. It's a process and there's programs that do that.
I tried that on my scanner.
And you know, I should have that. I should have that as one of the things that I talk about here, but I never thought of it. Fred?
There's a product, I think it's called TinyScan. Anybody use TinyScan? It works with at least with my Android. And it does some of the stuff like cropping and OCR automatically.
Oh.
You just go like, if you don't have your cell phone lined up right, not straight up above the graphic,
Yeah.
then it comes out as a trapezoid. It's not
Oh yeah.
90-degree
Yeah.
corner. Okay, it takes care of that for you.
It's called TinyScan.
And it also does OCR, and it ends up pretty good.
Yeah.
But I haven't used it very much.
Okay. Well.
I'd recommend that you look into it.
Okay. Well,
Once you see it.
is it spelled like it sounds?
It's for sale.
On Amazon.
Maybe it's the wrong name.
There are several of them out there like that. TinyScan is one of them.
Is it spelled the way it sounds?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Then I got
You
it.
say it's not free?
I said there's several programs out there like that. And they're apps on your phones.
Okay, yeah, I should have an optical character recognition program, because sometimes you want, you know, you
There are other references.
have a lot of paper, you want to. Yeah, that's right, that's right. I used to buy, way back in the day when I used to buy scanners, so I get them for free. Alternative two, I found, a lot of the programs I found are on this website. This is not a piece of software, it's a website. And you can, let's say, you say, I got this program, Photoshop, what can I find that replaces it? So you go to alternative two, and you type in the search thing for Photoshop, and it'll give you a bunch of alternatives and ratings on them, which is really slick, because you don't want to pick a badly rated program. And there's some that are free and some that are not free. You get all these different options that you can look at and see what else is available. So it's a really good place. Now, there's a couple services that are free, well, mostly free. One that I used a lot, the one right up at the top, HelloFax. I was introduced to it through Google. I think maybe they were closely related at the time. Anyway, nowadays, I don't have a phone line anymore. Fax machines work on phone lines. Well, I don't have one. So, this is a service that allows you to fax, to send like 50 faxes a month for free. So items, you know, not here, maybe one a year, maybe two a year I send faxes. So I don't, so this is good. This is a good thing. All e-fax, huh? Oh, that's right. What you do is you create a, and this is what I used to send to Scottrade. They'd send me, I'd download a PDF form from Scottrade, I'd fill it out, paste a signature on it, type in a date, and then I take these several sheets of PDF file, and I would go to HelloFax, and I would say, send this, click on the PDF file that I want to send, and type in the phone number, and it would send it to Scottrade. And no charge. I could see it. And they email it, well, I don't know.
Because if it's not through a phone line, what is it?
Oh,
Email?
well, internet, it goes through the internet. It's a website,
Okay.
so it's through the internet. You go to their web, basically, you don't install anything on your machine, it just goes through a browser. I'm pretty sure you don't. I haven't used it in a while.
So in essence, it's like an email this way.
Yeah, except, a lot of companies don't accept email. Probably for a really, really, really good reason, But faxes, it's like faxes are actually accepted as legal documentation. Email is not. Well, there's some secure email services you can buy, and I think maybe they're going to get wider acceptance. But for now, faxes work great. You can use them for legal stuff. Dave?
There's an S in the prefix there, which indicates you have a secure connection to those sites.
That's right.
So hopefully, it's not being intercepted by anybody that you don't want to see it.
That's right. Yeah, I copied those this morning. I didn't realize they had that. Everybody's upgrading their stuff and getting more secure as time goes on. And all four of these websites that I list here are secure websites. eFax, I looked at their website. They have a 14-day free trial. I didn't look at the terms and conditions. Maybe they have the same deal where if you only send 3 faxes a year, it's free. I don't know. But I know HelloFax is free forever. All you got to do is not send too many faxes. Huh?
I haven't used it in a long time, but I think he has to. It's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so same kind of deal? Yeah. Okay. Okay, the next ones, there's probably other faxing services too. I found one that I really liked, so I figured why switch any further. TV streaming. A lot of people notice that their cable bill is getting really high, and they really hate this stuff. They hate paying all that money for. Well, I found 2 websites that are really good for free television. One of them is ustvgo.tv. Used to be called something else. They've changed names a couple times. And last I looked, there's like 83 different channels you can get for free on USTV Go. It's a website, so you go, it has this window in the, let's say your screen's like that, it's got this window with the thing in it with what you're watching. And then you just click in the corner, there's this arrow thing that fills up the whole screen. So it's just like, and in my house, I just bought a 65-inch TV, and it just, fills up the whole wall. Just love it. And you can, I have a computer that drives all this, that drives my television, a lot of it anyway. And so I go to this, if I want to watch, there's like Turner Classic Movies, there's 83 of them. I'm not going to list 83 of them. You should go there. Yeah, a lot of them. Yep.
I just want to ask CNBC.
Oh, yeah.
Discovery, Disney.
Yeah. Yep, a lot of things. And the other one is called Locast, locast.org. They are for like local TV stations. Let's say you live in a place where they won't let you stick an antenna up on your roof. Well, you can go to Locast on your computer through the internet and see all, you tell them where you live. You got to sign up for an account too. I haven't done that yet. And you give them your zip code, and it gives you all the local TV stations for free. And you don't need an antenna on the roof. Just get it. You got to have an internet service, obviously. So those are 2 things that if you're interested in maybe saving some money on TV, you might want to look into. Because as long as you have internet, all that stuff's free. Oops, that's it. Click to it. Okay, there, I'm all done. So I hope you, most of you, all of you, benefited from this. And if you missed anything or want to go to all those places that JJ is going to have it up on our website under presentations. I think, is that right, JJ?
Yes.
And it'll be in PDF format. So make sure you have a PDF reader. Otherwise you won't be able to read it. Okay. Any questions or anything? Any comments?